As a coach, I stopped doing sales calls. And here's why. That's when I first started in coaching. I had learned a sales script to go through. And I remember my coach at the time saying, don't show up to sell, show up to serve. I didn't know how to make that separation. And sales calls always felt very clunky to me. I had a hard time overcoming objections. And, they would get to the objection and I just would be like, okay, wait to hear back, and then they ghost you, and that whole process. And so I just always thought I was really bad at sales. Last year, I had actually looked into hiring like a sales team because I recognized that that was one of my weaknesses. And I don't remember what made the shift entirely, but I just remember getting on a discovery call, if you will, with a client. And I just made the decision, you know what? I'm just going to show up. I'm going to coach them. I'm not going to sell them. I'm not going to try and get them to say specific things or, to guide them along with a normal sales script. I'm just going to show up and I'm going to serve them and I'm just going to coach them. And my goal at the end of that call is to help them have a transformation. And if that transformation helped them recognize like, oh yeah, like I need more of this and I want to move into coaching, awesome. We talk about that. If that transformation helped them go, yeah, I know that this is what I need to do. Now I'm going to go do it. Awesome. Like I surrendered the outcome, right? I released the pressure off of having to make the sale and have them get to say specific things. And I just started coaching. And I think there's this fear as coaches that if we coach them on the call, they're not going to need our coaching services. And that's true. I have had out of 10 of these sessions that I do, I have probably 2 that sign up for coaching. And I'm okay with that. And those are actually pretty good odds because I don't have to sell. I don't have to convince somebody to do something. They are recognizing that this is the next step forward for me. And Cheree is the right person to do it because of the results she helped me get in this session, or maybe it was a workshop or a speaking engagement or something that I did. I surrendered the having to get the sale and having to follow a certain script, and I just chose to show up and help people create transformation in their lives, whether they moved forward with me or not. And that changed the game because one, I am much more motivated now to do so-called sales calls. I don't call them sales calls. I don't consider them sales calls because I'm not trying to sell somebody. I'm just trying to help them in their life and in their business. And that a lot of times leads to sales, right? Just very naturally. And so anybody that's interested in coaching services, I now have them do a breakthrough session. If you've been following this channel, you've heard me say, hey, hop on a breakthrough session. I would love to help you. This is not a sales call. And I 100% mean that. At the end, I'm going to help you decide, is the next step moving forward coaching with me? Is it waiting? Like I'm going to help you determine an answer for what is the next step. Not because I want the sale, but because I want to help you or I want to help clients have success. Sometimes that success looks like coaching with me, and sometimes that success looks like something entirely different, and that is okay. But it took releasing the fear of they're not going to need me anymore. And part of where this came from was, I've shared this before, but I had a deep fear of rejection. So getting on sales call, trying to overcome objections, it all just felt very awkward. It felt very hard for me. I didn't look forward to the calls. I looked forward to helping people, but I didn't look forward to the part when it came to like, okay, now we have to talk about pricing and sales. And my scarcity mindset played into what if they're not going to be able to afford it? And how do I overcome the money objection? And, all these things. And so I share all of this to tell you that what's successful for one person may not be successful for you. This script that I had learned from this coaching program, other people had amazing success with it. They knocked it out of the park and they had thousands and thousands of dollars in sales by using this script, but it didn't work for me. And it wasn't until I identified my fear of rejection, my root of what was making me bad at sales or bad at overcoming objections or bad at follow-up, right? I identified I had this deep fear of rejection because when I was in third, fourth grade, all of my friends got invited to a birthday party except for me. And my little brain took that as, I'm not good enough. My family's not wealthy enough. Her family lives in a nicer house. I live in the other neighborhood. And I carried that story forward with me that I wasn't good enough and I always had to prove my worth. And it had this deep fear of rejection in me that I wasn't going to be good enough. And so anytime somebody said no to coaching or they ghosted me, I had all this fear around it because the rejection felt painful. I knew what my purpose, I knew that coaching and me helping people was my gift. That was never a question or a doubt in my mind. But the thought of getting a no to me felt like a personal rejection of who I was. And that did not feel good in my body. And so therefore, I did not do follow-up. And I didn't like doing sales calls. And so therefore, the leads weren't coming in, right? Because I wasn't going out to get the leads because subconsciously I had this fear of rejection. And it becomes this vicious cycle. And once I uncovered that root, that fear of rejection, I rewired it. That's when this idea of a breakthrough session became a thing for me. Actually, here's where it started. I had mentioned this I think in the interview with Misty Springer. About a year ago, I started doing a lot of internal work, breath work, visualization, journaling, really stepping into who is the Cheree that makes $1 million? How does she think? How does she show up? What is she believing about herself? How is she showing up? And I started doing a lot of this internal work. And I had to pull back from putting out any offers because it felt so painful. I was like, I cannot take another no. My heart can't take it. And so I pulled back from putting out any offers and I just started doing a lot of this internal work. And then eventually I was doing an expansion breathwork session. And at the end of that, I had this idea of like, you know what? I'm just going to put out an offer for a $150 coaching session for 3 people. And I'm just going to put it out there. If people want it, awesome. If they don't, I'm going to be okay with it. And I'm going to trust that something even better is going to come along. And I surrendered the outcome. And I put it on social media. I think a Monday or a Tuesday. I said it closed by Friday. All the spots were filled by Thursday. And that increased my confidence of I can put out an offer and people will accept it if it's the right offer and if it's the right person. Like I didn't have to sell anybody, right? And what I did is I just got people on a call and I just coached them and said, hey, here's what to expect in our coaching sessions. So they had an idea of what to expect from me. And that was very, very successful and ended up turning into, I think I ended up doing that over the next, I moved away from sales calls and I started doing these coaching transformation breakthrough sessions. From that, I ended up having about $20,000 total in sales. Not all at once, but spread out over the contract. That changed the game. One, because I got quiet. And I allowed an idea to come in and I put it out there even though it didn't feel logical. It wasn't my normal pricing, but I just trusted that this is the right move. And I put it out there and it turned into massive momentum and sales for my business. So let's just bring this back. I had a fear of rejection. I thought I was bad at sales. I thought I was bad at follow-up. I thought I was not consistent. I thought there was a me problem. And I realized that it was just an old story that had to be rewritten. And I let go of somebody else's process, what somebody else says works for sales. And I just tuned into my own intuition of what I felt was right for me and for the people that I was working with. And here we are today, and I'm sharing this with you. Pull yourself out of what works for other people. Give yourself the time and the space to get quiet so you can listen to what is right for you. Let go of what other people are telling you is the only way to have success and get quiet long enough that you can listen to your intuition and your own wisdom or Holy Spirit or whatever you want to call it. As a high performer, it is really hard to do, but it is your best path toward success and income without sacrifice. If you're interested in one of those breakthrough sessions, comment below. I will send you the link for that. It's a complimentary session where we're going to do exactly what I just described in this. It's not a sales call. My goal is to help you have a breakthrough and transformation and to help you figure out what's the next right step forward for you. Please like, subscribe, share, help me spread this message that you can have success and have everything you want in life without sacrificing what is important to you. Until next time.